Hey, they're still rebooting Blade, correct? Day Shift is the newest action comedy exclusive to Netflix. It's directed by J.J. Perry in his directorial debut, and it's anchored by a great trio of actors, Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, and Snoop Dogg. And Jamie Foxx plays a hard-working dad who's out to provide for his daughter, and he uses a boring pool cleaning job as if he were Morris Buttermaker as a front for his real gig. He hunts and kills vampires. And along the way, he encounters a cowardly accountant who joins him on this journey, played by Dave Franco, as well as a badass cowboy-style character played by Snoop Dogg. I really don't even know what he is. But vampire movies can be a dime a dozen. They can be really, really fun, like Daybreakers, or they can be really like the Twilight Saga. And this movie is very self-aware of the genre it exists in, and I think that's one of the biggest praises that I can give this film. It kind of knows what it is, and it never tries to be anything more than that. This is an action comedy. This is not overly ambitious by any stretch of the imagination. This creative team basically came together and was like, you know what? We're gonna give you guys some fun if you're a Netflix subscriber. And there are some fun bursts throughout Day Shift. The action sequences are not really the most remarkable of the bunch. And while the CGI may not be up to snuff like your regular old big budget action comedy like a Zombieland or something like that, you gotta give these filmmakers credit for all the creativity that they threw into this film. Especially as it goes with not just the action department, but the production design towards the end of this film I thought was really, really stellar. And the soundtrack choices I thought were really, really fun. But perhaps the biggest and ultimate praise that I can give Day Shift is just how much fun these actors are having. Every single one of them is game for this. My birthday buddy Jamie Foxx is a tough guy, and he's a very charming tough guy in this movie. He was a very, very easy character to latch onto, and his motivations are very, very simple. He wants to provide for his daughter, and he wants to protect his daughter. Simple enough, and Jamie Foxx just has this charm about him. He is just so damn cool. Everything he touches, whether it be a Django Unchained, whether it be a Baby Driver, he's always stolen the show in those movies, and Day Shift, no exception. I loved him in this movie. And I was actually very surprised by how Snoop Dogg did. I thought he was extremely fun to watch. At first, I was just sitting there like, okay, is he just gonna be playing Snoop Dogg wearing a cowboy hat? But that's just the thing. Snoop Dogg just has that draw and that charisma, and you just can't help but be endeared by him. And speaking of endearing, let's talk about Dave Franco, because he was so funny in this. At least I thought the performance and the delivery was funny. I thought the way he was presenting this material was just so gut-bustingly hilarious. This is saying a lot in a movie starring Jamie Foxx, but I feel like Dave Franco is really holding his own, and he kind of can steal some scenes himself. And I thought him and Jamie Foxx in this buddy cop style setting, I thought it worked really, really well. Now you might notice how I said I thought these performances and the delivery was funny. The dialogue, on the other hand, it leaves a lot more to be desired. And that's actually, I think, the biggest thing holding back Day Shift from being just such an amazingly fun time. This script is so inconsistent. One moment, Jamie Foxx will have this really clever one-liner, and then in the next scene, he'll make a joke, and then the script will explain the joke, and being like, okay, audience, this is what he just meant. That's what he said. Now laugh. Did you think that was funny? And I'm sorry, but comedy to me just doesn't work that way when you have to explain the joke. And another thing about this script, it makes a lot of really interesting choices in terms of the storylines and where these characters are going. And I really, really do get where these filmmakers were trying to go. I really think that they were trying to do something completely outside the box and completely different. And there's a couple of choices they make that I'm like, that was pretty freaking awesome. But then when these ambitious choices do come around, they very quickly back away from that choice. It's either that or there's some really important story elements in how certain characters change throughout the movie that just really felt to me like it was just so out of left field. And like, it took me a long time to process what was going on with some of these characters and how they evolve. And I'll just come around and say this too. I really was not a big fan of the villainous characters in Day Shift. I thought that they were very one-note. Yeah, there's some revenge elements thrown into the mix, but let's face it, you've seen these baddies before. So while this isn't the most creative action comedy I've ever seen, I really do think that this movie is the combination of what happens when you merge Zombieland with Daybreakers. So yeah, story being as predictable as it is, elements being as derivative as they are, you probably think I really hated Day Shift, and I didn't. I had fun watching these actors. Jamie Foxx is awesome. Dave Franco was really, really funny. Snoop Dogg really shocked me with how fun he was. And I really do give props to director J.J. Perry and his creative team with how much that they were willing to throw at the wall here. I love how these vampire hunters can just bring in a set of fangs and be like, here, give me $10,000 for those. These are some really neat ideas, but unfortunately with the way this material was presented and written especially, left a lot more to be desired. I'm going to give Day Shift a C+. Heck, there may be some of you big vampire aficionados that may love this movie way more than I did, and that's totally fine. Movies are subjective. So let me know what you guys thought of Day Shifts down in the comments section below. What else are you guys going to be streaming this weekend? Are you going to be going back to the theater to see any of these big summer blockbusters before school starts back up? I love discussing all these new topics and all things movies and entertainment with you guys. So if this is your first time visiting the channel, do consider smashing that subscribe button and that notification bell right next to it. That way you don't miss a second of the action from this point forward. And what the heck, feel free to smash the thumbs up button on your way out. That would be extremely helpful too. And of course, stay tuned for more exciting content hitting my channel very, very soon. I have a lot of streaming movies to catch up on, so I'm going to get reviews out for all those as soon as I can, because I am going to be opening up another show in a couple of weeks here, so please bear with me and my crazy theater schedule. And yes, I will be continuing with my Lord of the Rings series. I'll be starting the Hobbit trilogy very, very soon as well. Lots of things that we can talk about over here, my word. But you guys are the best. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with all that being said, back talk, commence!